Thank you for auditing the always positive new music review show hosted by a French professor who cannot wait to talk to you about You Can't Kill Me by 070 Shake. 070 Shake? I don't know. My daughter listened to this album, she liked it a lot, but she said I wish that she had a more catchy name. Whatever it is, every once in a while I hear an album and I just get so excited to share it with people. The most notable one was The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. When that album came out, I felt like explosion. Like I would just find people on the street and just take them by the cuffs and just be like, you have to listen to this. When it came out, there wasn't that much of a response. A couple months later, of course, it won all the Grammys and everyone knows it as a classic. But I can't figure out, like that album was very clear. It was destined for all the flowers, as the people say these days, the flowers it was due. But I can't tell if 070 Shake is going to get her due. I can't tell if Pitchfork is going to come out with a 10 out of 10 and Fantano's going to come out with a 10 out of 10 and she's going to get the Grammys and going to be on the front page, or if this is just going to be forgotten and everyone's going to be discussing Post Malone. I don't know what the word on the street is. I don't follow the music blogs, so I have this urgency to share this amazing, amazing album with you. So that's why I picked the thumbnail and the title that I picked. And I know you're pissed and I don't blame you. Did I just ask, could 070 Shake be the next Kanye? Am I clickbaiting? Yes, but not for me. I'm clickbaiting for her, because I think this is a real question. I think if we sleep on 070 Shake, we might honestly be sleeping on the next Kanye. Now, I don't mean this in the sort of deepest meaning of what Kanye is. I don't think 070 Shake will be a uncontestable genius who changes the course of pop culture multiple times in multiple different fields over and over again for 20 years. Nor is she a lot like Kanye on the sort of surface level, right? But it's the surface level that makes her particularly interesting in terms of like how she could blow up. I mean, unlike Kanye, she's a woman. Unlike Kanye, she's Hispanic or Latinx. She's of Dominican origins, as in the Dominican Republic. And she is either gay or bisexual. I don't know. I don't look up biographies of artists, but I can tell very clearly this album is a breakup album or a love album towards a woman. And so what we have here is what we talk about in academic fields is intersectionality. Of course there have been gay rappers. Of course there have been Latinx rappers. Of course there have been female rappers, but to have all of them in one is spectacular. And had 070 Shake decided to make this like her thing, I think she would have had a much easier time breaking into the mainstream. But this amazing album, this achingly human and haunting album, is not at all about any of those things. It's not about being of Dominican origin, although there are some bits that are in Spanish. It's not about being a lesbian or bisexual, although the subject matter is the love of a woman. It is not about being a woman, although it is performed by a woman. It is not about any of these things. And yet it represents all these things at once. So that's one way that she's not like Kanye on the surface level, which makes her maybe a little bit more exciting even than just, a very educated dude from Chicago, right, which was still underrepresented in hip-hop when Kanye came out. But it's not, so the surface level, she's not like Kanye. The deepest level, she's not like Kanye. But there are enough artistic similarities right there in the middle that are too great to ignore. Now, obviously, I'm thinking of Kanye at all because she's on Kanye's label, and I learned about her through a Kanye song. But there's more than that. Like Kanye, and I don't mean Kanye, the old Kanye. I don't even mean the new Kanye. I mean the now Kanye, the Donda Kanye, okay? She's a singer and a rapper. But we call her a rapper because she's theoretically a rapper, and that's how she came up. But in reality, she sings way more than she raps. She is a co-producer on all of her music. She is a major hand behind the sound of it. So she's this co-producer / performer who makes music that you just cannot fit into any category. We'll put it in hip-hop, and I'll classify this as one of my hip-hop videos, but it's not really. Perhaps the most interesting similarity between her and Kanye is her continual work with Mike Dean. If you don't know Mike Dean, You're obviously not a golfer. You're obviously not a big Kanye fan, but that's okay. Maybe you're not. Mike Dean is the éminence grise. He's the Richelieu to Kanye's Louis XIII, okay? He is the person who is sort of behind Kanye, often making a lot of the decisions that we credit to Kanye, a lot of the mixing decisions, a lot of the production decisions, a lot of them go to Mike Dean. And to Kanye's credit, he always credits Mike Dean. No one, sorry, I dropped something. He's not trying to steal from Mike Dean. So we have this album by this person who like sings and raps and works with Mike Dean. And here she is in the 2020s. And am I describing Donda or the 070 album? Unsettling, hauntingly beautiful, emotionally fractured, heartbroken music with dark artistic vibes. Rap albums that feature more singing and melody and production wizardry than bars. That was a trick. I was describing both albums. That's how great this is. But when I'm thinking about Kanye, and I'm thinking about 070 Shake, and I assume if you clicked on this, it's because you love Kanye. 070 Shake doesn't have a big enough audience yet. Dear God, I hope she does. The reason I know her is that she is responsible for what I consider to be the most impactful guest appearance in the history of Kanye's music. Tied with the most impactful moment in Kanye's music history. I think Nicki Minaj and her appearance on Monster is right up there with 070 Shake's vocals at the end of the song Ghost Town off of Ye. If you haven't heard Ghost Town recently, God, Kanye is so good. But part of the reason Kanye is so good, like 070 Shake, he knows how to work with collaborators. And 070 Shake's fractured voice, we're still the kids we used to be. I put my hand on the stove to see if I still bleed. Which, by the way, side note, is that intentionally stupid or intentionally smart? Because you don't bleed when you put your hand on a stove. So is she just enduring pain for a bad reason? Or is she just forcing something for a rhyme? I don't know. But that sound that she makes, like when I heard that song, when I heard that voice, I wanted an album of that voice. I want 070 Shake. I want that I feel kind of free. I put my hand on the stove. I want that sound, that feeling for a whole album. Now, when I heard Monster, I wanted Monster for a whole album, which is why, even though I wasn't paying any attention to music, I bought Pink Friday the day it came out. This is me listening for Monster on Pink Friday. Singing. Hey, she's rapping. Singing. Okay? I didn't get what I wanted on Pink Friday. That's not Nicki Minaj's deal. But 070 Shake delivers to you an entire album of Ghost Town. And she's not ripping off Kanye because she brought that to Kanye. That was a showcase. That was showing us what she can do. So listen, we're 8 minutes into this video. If I haven't convinced you to listen to this album, and I mean really listen to it, then my persuasive skills have left me. So I'm very excited. My brother's visiting from out of town. I sent him to Wegmans, or he went off to Wegmans to do some groceries to give me space to do this video. Because even though my brother came here from West Virginia, I'm so excited to talk about this album, I have to get this out. So this album, it's kind of avant-garde, tons of interesting beat changes, not always a drop. You know, it's very subtle, it's very restrained at times. Like at times you feel like you're getting ready for some kind of huge whoa, but it just stays very subtle. I think I'm really finally starting to understand what you kids are talking about when you talk about vibes. This album is a vibe. It's the Ghost Town vibe for 45 minutes. Her voice is very much at the center, but what I love about her voice is she's strong enough to sing without autotune, and she uses autotune, and she uses vocoders, and she doubles herself, and she doesn't. She does whatever the hell she wants with her voice. At times she reminds me of Rihanna, at times she reminds me of Billie Eilish. At times, like, oh, sorry for that cough, by the way. My brother tells me that the cough is very loud on the album, so I'm not going to do that again. I've been having an asthma attack the last couple of days. We'll talk about that soon. It's not COVID. So, you know, she reminds me of Rihanna, of Billie Eilish. She's a rap artist. And what's great about this album is that I was expecting, given the themes of Ghost Town, that it was all going to be about like doing drugs and doing self-harm, and just sort of the way that she sounded like she was a young woman who was in a state of just about to fall apart. And that the whole album would be in that lane, which would be cool, but not really what I was looking for. Instead, we get this beautiful album of heartbreak. It's a heartbreak album, not self-destruction. She is taking the position that many rappers do when they're later in their career of being with a woman and knowing that that woman is sort of too good for you and that you're a little bit too wild, maybe too much of a rock star, too much whatever. And then there's other themes that get tied in here. Themes of flowers, which is have flowers in the back, and then themes of oxygen, which is very interesting, obviously, in the COVID era, and in the era where I've been struggling to breathe every single night. Every night I've been getting like 4 hours of sleep because my asthma is so bad. It's been terrible. But the theme of like oxygen as being something that is addiction, I don't know. There's all these sort of interweaving tapestries of imagery that's tied around oxygen and lust and love and flowers with just a little pinch of painkillers. A little bit of that like self-destructive side that comes in, but that doesn't dominate. So let's get to the stamp. Okay, 11 minutes in, let me show you a song. Click on the banana to hear what I think might be the song of the year. Medicine. Produced by Mike Dean, produced by 070 Shake, and by Dave Hamelin, who's a guy who does a lot of the co-production on this stuff. This is a song, the first time I heard it, I was like, not so great. Second time, it's fine. Third time, this is the catchiest song I've ever heard. This song might as well be the hamster dance. It's so catchy, but somehow it's catchy even though it's so drowsy. When you were low, I was your medicine, with these just low synths and this crazy melody. And I can't even describe how much this song just buries into my brain, buries into my head, buries into... Don't say soul. Don't say soul, Sky. Sky, you're going to sound cheesy as hell if you say soul. Buries into my soul. It really does. Like and subscribe if you want me to talk about my soul more. Smash the like bucket and go to my subreddit. That's fun over there. You know, so we're here and she just has this amazing opening with this chorus that's just so drowsy, and this whole idea of medicine, me being your oxygen, and this woman who she's with, when you were low, I was your medicine. Like feeling used and feeling like used as someone who can help in that way. And then we get this first verse, which the way it's delivered, you just have to listen to her cadence. Because the thing about rappers who sing is that rappers who sing have had to think a lot about the rhythm of words and the way words fit into verses, right? So rappers who sing sometimes make better cadences than people who just sing. So I can't do the cadences because I'm not 070 Shake, whose real name is Danielle Balbuena. That's a little trivia I remember now. The moon slowly kissed me. Oh no, I fell in love with the night. She walked out on me. You left when you didn't have the right. Just a beautiful line, you know, like the moon kissed me and I fell in love with the night. And then there's this like great like droning guitar. And the thing is, when you hear it, you're going to think, oh, that's sounding like Kanye. No, it's not. It's that Mike Dean is on here. This is helping us to understand what the Mike Dean is of Kanye, especially with the vocal production and this just great low guitar. Then there's like a beat change with this kind of dark industrial badass part, and then finally ending with this bridge of just a voice and a guitar outro. And the whole song, like I could listen to the song on repeat over and over again. And it's just a wonderful piece of music. Okay, I'm going to get to the rest of the album a little bit quicker. Opening up with the track Web. Now, first of all, the whole album is seamless. It all fits in together. It's all in the same atmosphere. It feels like an album, not a collection of songs. It starts off with this chorus of voices. This is what shocked me. You know, I expected the album to just be like her being sort of like sassy and like... Instead, it's this chorus of voices that's interrupted by this rapping and asking over and over again, what is your favorite flower? And then these keyboards come in and her voice becomes a little bit more emphatic, like more and more layers. And then it just gets so lush and so epic. And she repeats over and over again, I think we should start here, which then leads directly into the next song, Invited. And the thing about a song like Invited is there are so many different parts, so many different like sections of the song and beat changes or whatever, but they flow together. And when when beat changes flow together, I call that movement. So as opposed to being like, I don't know, like In My Feelings or something, where there's like a stop and then something else starts, it's like something changes drastically, but it brings you along so you don't feel the change as strongly. As an example, in here, there's like a little break with like a synthesizer sounding like a harp. I thought there was a mixture of Spanish and English because when she says, "I'm hoping you got," I heard her say lugar, which is a Spanish word. But then there's this like robot doubled voice, very Jesus-like. But then this like vocal trick that actually reminds me a little bit of even a Billie Eilish at times, like "Let's get it right," just kind of echoes. And then eventually this like almost reggaeton rhythm comes in a couple minutes in and then disappears. And then like a Phil Collins sounding drum solo comes in, like drum fill, like the kind of drum machine, you know, I can feel it coming in the air tonight. And the whole thing, like by the time you're done, like you really feel like you've been somewhere, like you've been on a journey. And then that leads perfectly into the song History, which is again very much in that ghost town era, that ghost town feeling, especially in the vocal production. I should say that I did listen to Ghost Town after listening to this album again, and Ghost Town might be the best Kanye song. I'll throw that out there. It might be the number one Kanye song. That's how good I think Ghost Town is. Whew. And I hate to say, but the song Ghost Town is better than this album. So just so you know, I'm not saying that she's better than Kanye. I'm not saying that she's better than Kanye. I'm saying she might be the next Kanye. This song, the beat changes a little bit more in your face, gets kind of like techno and sort of funky. She keeps talking, like the lyrics get sort of worse here, a little bit kind of cliche, like I'm getting lost in translation. She's casting spell on me when she talks. I'm locked away down in her thoughts. But I do really like the bridge that has these kind of like warped vocal sounds where her vocals get pitched downwards, and then ends with some of my favorite lyrics on the album, which is this kind of like hopeful. The whole album is like this aching, heartbroken woman singing to another woman about like how they really should be together, how she wasn't ready for her to leave. Made your heart beat to this. We'll dance, we'll die. Till then, you're mine. Beautiful line, very meaningful. Sorry, my notes are a little bit all over the place. Like getting like 4 hours of sleep because you can't breathe is not fun. I wouldn't mind, 070 kind of has been my medicine over the past couple days. Medicine is the next song, that's the stamp. Then we get to the song Skin and Bones, a little bit more poppy, kind of a very simple drum line here. Here her vocals remind me the most of that kind of, you know how Rihanna has that cutting quality to her voice? I think that's what 070 has as well. Nice kind of beat change here as well. A little bit more of the epic mode in this song, like layers and layers of synthesizers, especially like a wailing synthesizer. And then there's a part to this song, which I can't describe it. It's like a crazy resolving part. It has this like sense of resolution, especially it's almost as sort of like an ending to this first part of the album, because like the whole thing's been not discordant, it's not unpleasant, but like just very sort of like uneasy. And this one section of this one song, it has this out of nowhere kind of resolution and sweetness that is just divine. Oh, sorry. I brought a prop. When you have really bad asthma, you have to use a thing called a nebulizer, where you put the medicine in this little thing. You have to put this mask over. And every time I do, I feel like I'm in this movie. In this movie right here, it's called Blue Velvet, starring Dennis Hopper and Isabella Rossellini, directed by David Lynch. I'm talking about this for a reason, because the next song is called Blue Velvet. And this is where things get interesting. Well, it's already got interesting. This song is nuts. It's nuts. Listen to the production on here, okay? Just let us all appreciate Mike Dean's existence and appreciate 070 Shake, that they're able to do this like heartbeat opening, a blaring alarm sound, and then bongos, and then a really sweet, clean guitar. I'm going to say that again. Heartbeat, blaring alarm keyboards, bongos, sweet guitar. That's 30 seconds. And then we're into this groove. And it's a Lynchian groove, as in David Lynch. This song feels Twin Peaksy. It feels like Blue Velvet because it has that bongo and guitar. It has that spacey, unworldly feel. And this is intentional. I'm positive this is intentional. He wants me to think of Frank Booth. F you, you effing F. That's the famous line from the movie. Which I once bought a t-shirt with Frank Booth on it that said F you, you effing F. But I was too shy to wear it. It was at Newbury Comics, Harvard Square. So like this whole, like, so all that happens, and then we get settled in this little groove, this Lynchian groove. When I'm talking about David Lynch, I'm talking about like Mulholland Drive. Okay, I'm talking like Twin Peaks. I'm talking Blue Velvet. Okay, I'm talking what's that other one? You know that other one. Anyways, not Dune. A bunch of different movies that he has where you feel like you're in sort of a dreamlike state where things sort of make sense and they sort of don't, but it's all very stylized and artistic. And that's what we have with the bongos and the sweet clean guitar. And this voice comes in, just singing about Blue Velvet. And I fell in love with the first time I felt it. It's like a hypnotic chorus, hypnotic like the movie Blue Velvet. Blue Velvet. And then the verse, and then this refrain, pre-chorus and chorus, they're all different, but they all feel connected. We have like blasting phaser sounds. Then later some strings come in, and then a blasted mixed up horn solo. I'm telling you, for a song that's so maximally produced, with so much going on here, it's just a totally smooth vibe. It never feels like they are trying to do something spectacular or bizarre or all over the place, like she is trying to do that. But yet, that's what's actually happening when you break it down. And that's my favorite kind of music. My favorite kind of music is the music where you can just listen to it and go, cool vibe, bro. Nice sound, sis. And then you delve a little bit deeper, and you start listening. Do you hear those horns? Right? Okay. I made some Blue Velvet fans happy. Those of you who have not seen Blue Velvet, go see Blue Velvet. Movie rules. You'll never drink Heineken again. The next song, I don't think this is intentional, but is another 80s movie title, Cocoon. Cocoon is a Ron Howard movie starring Wilford Brimley about old people. I don't think these are connected. I don't think this is about the movie. And this is my daughter's favorite song, so I listen to this song a lot with my kids over the weekend and my wife, and we all love it. My son, my teenage daughter, my wife, like we all love this because we all recognize it as having this feel. This heir to Kanye feel, or at least in the same space. Because when you listen to Donda and then you want to listen to something else that makes you feel that way, you're done. You can look at recommended underneath on Spotify or Pandora or whatever. It might suggest Call Me If You Get Lost, but Call Me If You Get Lost doesn't feel like Donda. Certified Lover Boy doesn't feel like Donda. Nothing feels like 2020s Kanye or late teens, early 20s Kanye, except for this album. And this song, so many great parts, this like throbbing boom, 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 bass sounds like the voice becomes almost, again, like a rhythm element, like I've been talking about, like rappers have the ability to do that. Painkiller, doctor said, feel better, picking up a habit, it's an effed up system, some of this painkiller themes. Later she says, I'm coming out like I'm 9 months pregnant. As a human being who is a male, I really appreciate when I get to experience music from women that is so effortless and sort of like a man can't say I'm coming out like I'm 9 months pregnant, right? I mean, you can, but like it's just so funny to have like a badass line that's also about like a biological reality for many women. You know, I'm coming out like I'm 9 months pregnant. Beautiful. And at the end of most of these verses, she keeps just saying this weird line like, what's the rhythm? What's the rhythm? And I think what the rhythm is her voice. Then the chorus again becomes quite Billy-like. Should have known, should have known, should have known. So many layers and feelings and it's just great. And again, going back to Kanye, I can't help it. But that's the thing about like the beat changes. Like that's what Kanye does too. You listen to Ghost Town, there's like 5 different parts to that song, but they all go together and they all have one feeling. Now the song Body is the next song. And this is cool because the rhythms are created entirely off of the word body. Just the rhythm of the word body. Body, 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 body. Not to be confused with Megan Thee Stallion. Body, oddy, oddy, oddy. But, Jesus, I'm sorry. So I don't have a script. You've noticed I don't edit because I coughed on screen and that was very unpleasant. I do apologize. and I dropped my velvet mask. But I also don't write a script. So I just realized right now that Body and Body by Megan Thee Stallion go perfectly together because they both play on the rhythmic possibilities of a word. The same word, body. Body has... I sound like I'm stoned. Man, you ever thought about the word body? Body. But seriously, think about the word body, the rhythm of the word body. Because you listen to Megan Thee Stallion, and you listen to this, and you see it has this. But what does she do? Megan Thee Stallion, great sexual anthem, fine. But what does 070 Shake do? 70 Shake. So, I wanted your body, but it came with your soul. Hey, what a line, right? So the whole thing has this kind of, and again, the fact that it is a woman and a woman, I do think colors the way these love stories are told, because relationships between women and women are different than relationships between men and women and men, etc. Non-binary, right? So there is something about this, like the exploration of a body, like it does feel sapphic, for lack of a better word. But this idea of like, I wanted to know your body, but it came with your soul. Like it's a accidental thing. Like she just wanted the sex part, but then she got the love part. It's human, it's beautiful, it's gorgeous, it's erotic, it's lovely, it's romantic, it's everything. And at the end, we have these like, one of the main elements, music elements, that comes all the way throughout this album, over and over and over again, are like G-funk synthesizers. Right? So, you think about Ain't Nothing But a G thing, right? Like super high synthesizers, those are all over this album. And especially here, they're used very well. And it's just great. I love that sound. I often compare it to the song Summertime by Cool and the Gang. Like just the going between octaves on a very high synthesizer. We have a lot of that here. Wine and Spirits is the next song, one which I didn't like that much in the beginning, which I came to really like. It's guitar-led, acoustic guitar-led, and she just repeats this verse over and over again. And it's for emphasis, all about balance. Balance more than harmony, can't have one without the other. So it actually follows quite nicely from the song Body, because she's sort of talking about being like, the baddest B-word in your bed, kind of like an aggressive sexual posture. But then it's all about this balance that she's trying to have with this girlfriend or with this woman. And again, I don't know. It's a beautiful love story and a heartbreaking love story in the middle of this ghost town soundscape, right? And then I don't think Mike Dean plays guitar, but Mike Dean loves guitar, so there's just this wailing guitar solo in here as well. Next up is maybe the best song on the album. It's hard to tell. I mean, we got Medicine. Okay, as far as like the 3 tracks you have to hear, you got Medicine. You got Cocoon, and then you got Come Back Home, which starts off with like a plodding piano, and then there's some like sweeping disco strings. Okay, so but then the disco strings are also kind of like Rhapsody in Blue by Gershwin. They're kind of Gershwin-y strings. So plodding piano, disco, Gershwin. There's your beginning. And it's a whole song all about like, I'm sorry, mama, I danced with the devil. Can I come back home? Can I come back home? And then there's this weird beat change where you get the sequencer and the voices are on the left and the right. It's kind of like a 1, 2, 3, 4, the very kind of simple rhythm going here. I found out I was your last ride home. She keeps saying that over and over again. And the first 3 quarters of the song are good. But the last quarter of this song is one of the greatest sections of music I've heard. Like a vocoder sound in this bridge, and like the way that her voice is engineered, the way the synthesizers are used, the way this vocoder sound is used, mixed in with these words. This one talks about that one talks about blah. Tell me something more than how much you got. She's been working on it in the streets at night. That's my secret lover from time to time. Just like more and more layers and guitars and drum lines. It is, and just repeats these lines over and over again. It is some of the most satisfying music. Like the first bite of yogurt. You know what I'm talking about? When you have yogurt and at the end and you're like scraping like crackhead, like just got to get the end of that yogurt. Like the first bite of yogurt. the full, your spoon is overflowing, and there's no word, like nothing's ever going to end. This cup of yogurt is never going to end. This is why I should have a script. I don't need metaphors about yogurt. I'm going to stick with it. That's what this section is like. It's that level of satisfaction in this amazing atmosphere. The last track, oh, actually no, there's a couple more. Oh yeah, it's like 3 more tracks, awesome. The next track is called Vibrations, a little bit more abstract here, kind of like echoes and kind of a weird break. This is probably my least favorite track on the album, a little bit more trap-like. I like the kind of tinkling arpeggios at the end, but it's not one of the stronger songs. In a similar way, Purple Walls, the next song, a little bit more straightforward with her voice. Interesting lyrics. The purple walls inside your room, you gave it up inside your room. You told me stuff inside your room. We fell in love inside your room. I don't know. Purple walls. A woman lover being inside your walls. That's where I fell in love with you. You gave it up inside those walls. I don't know. She might be talking about walls of a room. She might be talking about anatomical walls, right? I don't think it's either or. I think it's both. I do really like when the drums come in, these kind of like slow drums come in, and then her rap style is just beautiful. Like it's really well done with these like strings in the back. Actually, I take it back. Purple Walls is great. It's really just that Vibrations that I don't particularly care for. Stay is this really the beat here is maybe the least interesting, with these kind of horns going back and forth. But again, if you actually like get close to this, if you like listen to it, if you get full Frank Booth about it, right? You get that way, you start hearing like the interesting production that's going on here. Very kind of harsh lyrics. Again, this is in a similar way that Donda is a heartbreak album. This is kind of a heartbreak album. Can't be so selfish. F someone else in your favorite sweater. You know, like, ouch. Like, is she effing someone else in her favorite sweater? Or is her ex-lover effing someone else in her ex-lover's favorite sweater? It's unclear. But either way, it feels very personal. The album ends with Se fue la luz. A very strong ending. I mean, this is like, when you think about where you started, you know, with Web, and then you end up here, Se fue la luz, and you had that sense that some albums are able to give you of just accomplishment, of like a whole feeling, like you have that sense that you've really been through something, and then they find the right note to go out on. It's this emotional, inspirational ending that starts off with some Spanish. This is actual Spanish, not a language professor who wants to hear Spanish everywhere. It roughly translates, you know, when you left, the light went out. Again, another heartbreak song. After the second chorus is this like beautiful kind of like chugging part, almost like a metallic voice and piercing about moving to LA. Again, very kind of Kanye. Yeah. And then it ends with this kind of crazy brass section. So I was looking at my notes. There was one song that had a really super Kanye-like style, where it sounded like, it actually sounded like Blood on the Leaves, her rapping style. But I don't remember which song it was. So maybe you can tell me that when you listen to the album. So there's my review. There's my review of 070 Shake. I don't think that she is going to be as revolutionary as Kanye. But she's 24 years old. She is representing a lot of people who have not been represented, okay? In hip-hop, there's not a lot of representation of anything that she is, and she's a lot of things that have not been represented. Plus, she's a great producer. Plus, she's a great performer, singer, and rapper. Plus, she has charisma. Plus, she has the backing of Kanye. So, who knows? Maybe this review will seem totally trite. And maybe, I don't know, maybe Pitchfork and Fantano have already come out with their reviews and I just haven't been paying attention. Maybe they all say 10 out of 10. Maybe they all say she's the next Kanye. Or maybe I'm streets ahead. These are my Patreons. I'm totally going to buy this album, by the way, whenever I can find it on vinyl. My whole family loves it, especially that song Cocoon. My daughter loves that song Cocoon. These are alphabetical now over here, so if you're one of those guys, so you can go to patreon.com/Professor Sky and support me. I take the money, and most of the money I use to buy music. So you can see yourself on there. I think, who's the new guy? Maybe Robert. I want to say Robert. But there's lots of new folks on here. So thank you very much to all of them. Thank you to my brother who ran off to Wegmans to give me some time. Now we're going to hang out together. And until next time, there's the camera. Oh, wait. I'm going to put in the description the song where the end of it reminds me of Blood on the Leaves. Because that's a really good point that I have. You know, before the lawyer told you, how'd you, that whole bit. Okay. I'll tell you in the description. All right. There's the comments. There's the comments. There's the camera.